First why. First why is very interesting one. First why is why AUC? Why do you want, or why you should refer others, or why you are here? It's not basically when I look at the why AUC, I say that it's not about success guarantee. It's not about we are offering something exciting in terms of time or cost. The major reason that I find out is, and that I used to talk about is, A is agile, U is unique, and C is consistent. So when I say agile, agile means this is not a show and tell course. Number one, I'm not going to run a single slide here. It's all about discussion. It's all about your feedbacks, your experiences. So it's not a show and tell class where I'm going to run a lot of slides and fill your throat with lots of definitions. So I'm not going to do that. It's all about discussions. We will be taking lots of inputs from you guys, and then refining our discussions and going towards the exams. First thing. Second thing is why I'm saying that our course is unique. Our course is unique because when you go for any other course, any other project management, PMP exam preparation course, they talk about solely on definitions, concepts, input, output, tools, and techniques. So if you look at PMBOK, traditionally you will hear that we have 5 process groups, 49 processes, 10 knowledge areas, 152 tools and techniques, and 500 plus input, tool, techniques, and outputs. So you're not here to rectify or understand this thing. The overall main concept here is experiential journey. So why we are here is to learn from our previous experience and mold that previous experience into the project management perspective and see how things work. So it's all about experiential journey, and this journey will be filled with, I would say, frameworks and best practices and tools and techniques. Generally, when you go for it, you talk about knowledge area, processes, and process groups. But the key point is we need to understand the frameworks that are helpful to understand the environment and that are going to helpful to understand the concepts. Then we need to see the best practices, or I should say good practices, which will help us to do the project management. And finally, we will be able to implement and perform some job in terms of tools and techniques. So this is how, or you can say, rather than I would say tools and techniques, I would say tools and templates. So that will be more appropriate word here. Okay. Then finally, when I say consistent, consistent means our relationship will not end after 3 days. I would say it will be the beginning of our relationship, where we will be discussing a lot of concepts, a lot of things, and we will be working towards the overall perspective. So consistency means beginning of a relationship which will go beyond your, you can say, PMP exam preparation, and you can say that how you are going to implement a project management in your all stuffs. So here, beginning of a relationship. So I would say this is one of the key things that we focus here, beginning of a relationship. So that is the key thing, and that we focus and we talk to you that how you are going to look into it and how you define. Interestingly, back in 2004, uh, I started talking about project management because one of my mentors said, I said, out of Pakistan, it is famous that Pakistanis are good workers and bad project managers. So I took this challenge and started my project management career in 2004. Until now, I have trained more than 10,000 people in project management and helped more than 5,000 people to, either transform their jobs, achieve certifications, and move the other countries. And then I would say in 2015, I increased my horizon. I said, although I'm working towards transforming Pakistan, but now it's time to look beyond and talk about the advancement of project management in a global scale. Because what I find out is there are a lot of discrepancies, there are a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings about the implementation of project management globally. So I can work towards this thing. So you can say, my start in 2004 was all about transforming nation to project management, but now it's all about transforming, global project management landscape. So transformation of nation to, I would say, now we are talking about transformation of project management. So this is the key thing that I am working towards, and I'm thinking that how I can help people to understand project management and implement project management at a global scale. So that is transformation of project management. That is why recently, when I was developing our website, upgrading our website, we have developed our vision and mission statement, and our vision statement is all about that we are going to provide change agents globally, or we want to enable you for your potential growth through our education, or you can say engagement and inspiration. So these are the key things that we are working towards it, and we can see that how we can look into it. If I talk about you, if you want to grow, if as you are here for PMP certification, but I would say you should understand this key point. This is the, I would say, main mantra, main mission, main objective of this course. It's not just to pass PMP, it's basically how you navigate the uncertainty. So what I believe is we all are here to learn how to harness the opportunity from uncertainty. So this is the key thing. So, and the key point here is harnessing, or I can say harnessing. Yeah, I can say harnessing the opportunities. This is the key thing to understand. Harnessing the opportunities from uncertainties. So we need to understand how we can live in an uncertain environment, and then how we can create multiple things, or how we can create the less information. You see, uncertainty, when we talk about uncertainty, it means we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what is the overall landscape. So uncertainty is all about that. The clarity is not there. We don't know how things is going to unfold. So these are the things that we need to look into it. So that you can, what is that you can understand here. So you can say uncertainty can be doubt, can be, you can say, sometimes you can define uncertainty as an ambiguous, but it's not ambiguous, but it's all about suspicion, you can say skepticism. So these are the other things that you can look into it when you're talking about the uncertainty. But when I see the overall concept, not permanent, I would not say not permanent, but I would say uncertainty means we have no clear sign of future. You can look into it. If you want to look into it, we can say it in this way. Next point, the key aspect here is why I'm talking about uncertainty, because right now the environment we have, I'm not talking about the environment based on COVID. I'm talking about the overall environment. Uncertainty is very high, and as a project manager, we need to see how we can harness the uncertainty and how we can grow into this thing. So that uncertainty brings us to the second important why that I need to talk about it here. So our second important point is uh, why project management is growing. So second why is all about why project management is growing. Okay, so if I have to give you, my answer, I would say, although two people have already talked about it, when I say challenges in terms of organization, I would say these are the two common challenges that organizations are facing. The first challenge is sustainability. Sustainability means that your organization, continue doing business in the market. It should not happen that they go to bankruptcy, or they are going to, shut down their business because of market demand and other stuff. So there are two challenges. First challenge is sustainability, and the second challenge is growth challenge, that they are doing business but they are not growing. So when I say sustainability, interestingly, I was reading an article and I got to know that the Fortune 500 companies who are at top, say since 2000, since 1960s and 70s, the average lifespan of a company was around 75 years. which is equivalent to the lifespan, expectancy of a man. But nowadays, in fact, average company lifespan is less than 15 years, and it is also decreasing, year by year. So it means companies who are once at top of the world, who are the top Fortune 500 companies, are no more in the world. They did not exist. So we have a couple of examples like Kodak, like Blockbuster, like Nokia. They all were, the top companies, top five Fortune 500 companies at one time, but they all lost their business. Sustainability is all about uh, how long or how you are going to continue your business, and growth is how you are increasing your overall revenue in a market. But the problem is, CEOs are unable to achieve this thing. What is, or companies are unable to achieve this thing? What is the number one reason, or what is the main reason of these challenges? So if I look at the reason, and I would say the reason would be a high uncertainty. There is a uncertainty about future, that what is going to happen tomorrow. So I would say high uncertainty is the reason. But now my question again from you guys is, when you say high uncertainty, what is the real reason of uncertainty? How do you define the uncertainty reason? Why organizations are facing the challenges of sustainability and growth? What is the reason why they have high uncertainty? So if I say, what is the real reason of these challenges? Let's see how you answer. What is the real reason of high uncertainty, and the reason that organizations are unable to, achieve the uh, sustainability and growth? You see, if I go and talk about the concept of real reason, I would say the real reason is number one, innovation, because innovation is happening at a very rapid pace. So innovation is one of the real reason that organizations are not innovating their strategies, they are not innovating their products, they are not innovating their environment. And second thing is entry of competitors. Traditionally, previously, the competitor entry was difficult. Generally, companies have less competitors, but based on technologies, based on innovation, based on, startup eco or culture, people are, or new companies are coming every day. So sorry, so your customer, your user have lot of options. So if they have lot of options, then it means you have to consistently upgrade yourself. You have to consistently build something new, or consistently offer something new thing in a different way. So the biggest problem that what I find out is, companies are not, you are right, adopting the market dynamics. They are not introducing new changes, and they are still, in a mindset of a previous dogma where they were operating. So if you look at the, concept of innovation, concept of competition, previously the average life of a product was very high. So we talked about the life cycle of average lifespan of a company. So lifespan of a company, let me write it here. So lifespan of a company, I would say, was 75 years, which down to 15 years, and now it is getting less now. Now, the another important factor is lifespan of a product, the product that company is actually producing. So let's suppose, if you look at the lifespan of a product, now we are, if we are in, electronics area, let's suppose talk about mobile phones. Every year we have a new mobile phone. Every year we are talking about new glasses. Every 4 years we are talking about a new car, and within the 4 years, every 2 or 3 years we are getting the facelifts. So technically, when initially car was introduced, the average, new model time period was 8 years. That new model time period from 8 years has been reduced to 4 years, and now within 4 years we are seeing a lot of facelifts. So the key problem here is that lifespan of a product is also reduced. I remember, when we were kid, my family used to bring stuff, let's say food factory or some AC or some other stuff. And we used to say that this will last for 5 years, 10 years, 12 years. But now we are getting, things which are going to be reduced within 2, 3 years. To my surprise, I got to know that when I want to buy a shoes, they said that this shoes is of 2020 model, and I said what? So we are getting shoe model every year. Interestingly, if you are in a fashion industry, the average fashion product time is 3 to 4 months. And if you are working in Zara, and if you look at the how Zara is competing, they are producing new product, or you can say enhanced product or change product within 15 days. So if you see that the competition is so fast and the turnaround time of a product is so fast, so you cannot compete if you are not innovating with the right speed. And that is the key thing that lots of companies are struggling, and that is why they are unable to sustain and grow in the market. So let's suppose these are the challenges we talked about it. What is the solution that you look for it? So guys, what are the solutions that you think we may have? The solution would be, in the perspective, is either you introduce a new product or service. So one of the key thing is either you are going to introduce new product or service. This is the one option. Second option is, let's suppose if you cannot introduce new products or services. Let's suppose you are working in a bank. Let's suppose you are working in a utility company. So utility company cannot launch a new product or service every day or every time. So then you need to work on your customer experience. So every type of a company has a different way to handle the, you can say, growth or sustainability challenge. Some companies, like product based companies, service based companies, they can talk about launching new product or services, or enhancing, I would say, rather than calling new or all the time new, I should say new or enhancing. So I would say either launch new or enhance products or services. Number two is work on your customer experience. And third thing is, let's suppose if you are in an industry where you cannot work towards the concept of customer service too. Let's suppose if you are working in a Pepsi or Coke, or if you are working in commodity product, or if you are in FMCG market, then you need to focus more on innovative marketing. So this is the key thing that you need to look into it when you are going to compete in the market. So the solution to your challenges is focus on enhancing or upgrading your products or services, working on the customer service, working on on multiple marketing channels, and utilizing these things. So if I see all these solutions, it means that your company needs to seriously invest time on, or invest money on, project and program management. So technically, if any company wants to sustain and grow in innovative and competitive environment, they need to focus on projects and programs. One of the key thing that I find out, and which is very, you know, yeah, customer taste and changes and other things also. So maybe you can say, like Sharmeen said, rebranding or changing the, like in the case of Pepsi and Coke, they don't introduce new, mainly new taste, but they introduce new packaging. So it's all about how you are presenting your product, how you are changing multiple stuff. So that's how we look into it. So if you look at the overall game, and if you see how it works, then you need to understand or how many type of organizations we have, and what are their biggest challenge in terms of the resource requirements. So if we see the organizations, I can divide organizations into two type of, broadly, into two types of organizations. I can say either my organization is an operational organization, or my organization is a projectized organization. So there are, broadly, not actually, there are two types of organization: operational organization or projectized organization. The example of operational organization is, let's suppose you are working in any manufacturing industry, like auto industry, like financial industry, say banks and insurance company, like you are working in healthcare, right? Like you are in, you can say, utility companies, oil and gas companies, or utility company, oil and gas. So they all are classic examples of organizations who actually sell their operations. But if you look at the type of projectized organizations, then you will find out that we have ideally information technology company, we have a construction company, or we can say we have training or consulting companies. So IT, construction, training, consulting, these are the companies who run by doing the projects. So let me write it here, consultancy. Here we have telecom also, just to have a factor. The interesting point right now is, although when we see the operational organizations, so the workforce that has been identified, so the operational workforce or the workforce who works in operations department, like in a operational organization, their ratio is around 70 to 80%. So let's suppose if a company has 100 employees and the company is operational company like auto, finance, health, utility, telecom, oil and gas, out of 100 employees, around 70 or 80 employees are working in operational environment or operational job. And then they have very few people who are working in a projectized, assignments within the operational environment. So you can say we have around 20 to 30% of the employees within an operational organization who are working in projectized assignments. But based on local data, based on the data from PMI and other global companies, we are estimating that till 2027, right? We are going to change this shift, and the shift will be that operational resources will be reduced from 70 to 80 to 20 to 30%, and the project resources will increase from 20 to 30 to 70% to 80%. And why this change is going to happen? This change is going to happen because of fourth industrial revolution. So whenever I say fourth industrial revolution, or somebody says fourth industrial revolution, it means it's all about artificial intelligence, AI, robotics, IoT. So you can say robotics, Internet of Things, and you can say big data, cloud. So these are the technologies which are actually replacing the humans. Generally, when you talk about the concept of innovation, what is innovation, by the way? Tell me, how do you define innovation? So if you talk about innovation, sometimes you hear the words think out of the box. So how do you define out of the box? What is innovation? What is out of the box? Okay, you see, very interestingly, I have worked a lot in innovation, strategy, and leadership areas. Out of the box, when somebody says out of the box, it means you need to challenge your assumptions. So, whenever somebody says think about innovation, so first of all, you need to see what are the key norms, what are the key thinking patterns, what are the key assumptions in any specific area. So, if you can challenge the assumption and give a solution, then it means you are thinking out of the box. So what is the box actually? Box is assumption, right? So when you can think out of the box, it means list down the assumptions that are based on your industry, that are on which your product is based, on which your industry is based. And if you can challenge that assumption and give a solution, then it means you're talking about out of the box approach or innovative approach. So why I am asking about out of the box approach or innovative approach is because your fourth industrial revolution or fourth IR, or you can say AI, robotics, IoT, big data, whatever, they are actually replacing the human beings. Previously, we used technologies to reduce the time and number of resources. So the technologies, or you can say first industrial revolution or second industrial revolution or third industrial revolution, they help us to do the job which we used to do in say 10 days into 1 day or 5 hours. But the point is all the job was done by mainly humans. But the main premises of fourth industrial revolution is we are replacing humans with robots. We are replacing humans with AI, big data, and IoT. So that is why if you look at the operational, workforce, or you can say, let me write it here. So operational workforce. So if you look at operational workforce, these workforces are going to be replaced through AI, big data, and all kind of these things. So it reminds me, back in 2015 when I was in University of Oxford, we visited the factory of Mini Cooper. So the first, I would say, section of a Mini Cooper factory was all about to build a gray structure of a car. So, it took them that almost, less than 10 minutes to structure the whole car with some pieces or with some most of robots. So one of my, classmate asked the person that how many people were working there before all these robots, and he said around 2000 workers were this only in this section. And he said how many workers right now working with all these robots, and he said only four. So you can see virtually we have replaced all 2000 workers from that section. So you can see this is the impact of robotics, artificial intelligence, and big data. So companies are replacing, people from all these technologies, all these features. But still, if they want to compete, they need people who can bring some new ideas. They need people who can, compete with innovative options. So that is why the new, I would say, the core key skill is, or if you look at these key skills, the key skills right now and the most in demand would be our design thinking. This is one of the key thing. In fact, in 2019, Gartner presented a report and said that the CEO's top soft skill is design thinking. Second key skill that you need to master or acquire is project and program management. So you can go for project and program management. And the third key skill is how you negotiate and make decisions. So I would say negotiation and decision making are the key skills you need to acquire if you want to stay and grow in a innovative and competitive market. So that is why you can see project management is growing, because we need people who can implement innovative ideas and sell it to the market and go for the next option. So that is the key thing that we need to understand. So if we cannot adopt these things, if we cannot work on these things, then it means we have issue in terms of understanding or delivering the overall project and the program. Okay, now it's time to talk about the next important part. And the next important part is why we need to go for PMP. So I just talked about first option. That the first option was all about why AUC. The second is why project management is growing. And now we are talking about why we need to go for the PMP certification. So this is our third why. Third why is why PMP certification. Okay, so the key point is right now, if you look at the certification options, you have multiple options. Like you can go for PMP, you can go for Prince 2, or you can go for, we have array of certification in agile domain. So if you look into agile domain, we have CSM, CSP, right? CSP, and I don't know how many certifications are there. And then in concept, we have agile also, or you can say PMI Agile Certified Practitioner. So you can see we have a competition that which certification we can go for or look for it. I would say we need to see two, three things. Number one is why we do certification. Certification helps us to quickly cash the value. So I would say it's like day trading, it's like a quick fix. So from the perspective of certification, I would say right now at a global scale, PMP is cashable certification. You can say PMP is a cashable certification. Companies are asking about it. So I'm not talking about the content about PMP and the value about PMP. The key point is it is important that you need to look into it and see things. Number one. Number two, if you look at the overall community, PMP community is around 1 million. PMP practitioners are working in the market. So of course, it's a big number. But interestingly, there are around 1.2 million. So I would say 1.1, or you can say 1.1 million PMPs are in the market. But at the same time, we have around 1.2 million agile practitioners are in the market. But what PMI did smartly is right now, rather than, although they were selling, PMP in comparison to agile certified practitioner, but now they said that my PMP will have both the information and content. So when you say PMP, it means you are a project manager, and it does not matter that you got a plan driven project, or you can say change driven project. So as a project manager, you are supposed to manage the project. So if you are supposed to manage the project, you have to see which project management is appropriate for your project. So now your PMP will have content from both traditional perspective, or you can say from plan driven perspective, and as well as you will have content from change driven, or you can say agile perspective. So if you look at the overall, PMI targeting, PMI strategy, PMI is now competing with agile certification, not with their PMI ACP. So previously, PMI was trying to compete with, you can say, agile certification, you can say with you can say CSM, or you can say CSP, certified scrum master, or you can say certified product owner. So PMI was trying to compete with these certification. Hold on, let me just, okay. So PMI was trying to compete with the certification with their ACP, but ACP was unable to attract a big market. So what PMI did is PMI add, I would say, a couple of content of ACP into their PMP content. So that is why now they said that our competitor has been changed from agile certified practitioner to PMP itself, which is a leading brand. So now PMP is fighting or competing with the agile certification. And as PMP contains both the concepts, then you can look into it from this perspective. Number one. Number two, PMI is now not talking about process group. Previously, PMI certification was based on process groups: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and controlling. Now, what PMI does is PMI says that you are a project manager, and now I'm not going to understand project management definitions and project management contents. As a project manager, now you are responsible to lead project from project management perspective. So here I would say now the test is not about how much definitions, how much project management concepts you know. Now the test is all about how, as a project manager, you respond in various situations. So you can say this is test of a project manager rather than test of a project management. So as a project manager, you need to still talk about how you understand the strategy and how you are going to reflect the strategic outcome or strategic perspective in your project. So now PMP exam is based on strategy, is based on processes, and is based on your leadership style, or you can say your leadership perspective. So now PMP exam is all about these three areas. In totality, we have around 180 questions. 14 questions will be from strategy, 90 questions from process, and around 76 question you can say coming from the leadership perspective. So in totality, we have around 3 hours and 50 minutes for 180 exam questions. And out of 180 questions, 5 questions are considered as pre-test questions. So when I say pre-test, it means they don't have any marks. You don't know who are these 5 questions, but you have to attempt full 180 questions, and out of 185 questions will be pre-test questions which they are testing that they should go for the next model or not. So that's how the overall thing is working. Previously it was up to you when do you want to take a break, but now when you are going for the PMP exam, there are scheduled breaks, and once the break has been started you cannot go back and correct your answer. Previously you have all the time 4 hours, you can attempt all 200 questions and then go back to question number 1 or question number 30 or question number 50 and correct the answer based on your understanding. But now once your section 1 break starts, then you cannot go back and change the answer of your section number 1. So that's how the whole thing works. Second important thing is when lots of people are confused about PMI saying that now PMP exam contains 50% of agile questions. So I would say this 50% of agile is not from, I would say, strategy on leadership. So strategy and leadership will remain most of the concepts same. The main area where you can find the agile question is the process area, that how you are going to gather the requirements, how you are going to estimate the time, how you are going to list the resources. So all of the actions that you can, all of the processes or the technical perspective that you need to understand when you are leading a project as an agile project manager versus the technical project manager, these things will be changed. Yes, some of leadership styles will change, but that's not going to impact in a big way. So in this perspective, if I say 50% agile question is not about 90 questions. 50% agile means I have to decompose my process area into it. So I would say I'm not decomposing the full 180 questions. I'm going to decompose 50 percent of process questions. So we have around 90 questions in process area. So, and from this formula, I would say you will have around 45 questions from agile perspective. So this is the overall division of PMP exam, and that's how you are going to look into it for the exam perspective. PMI does not talk about the percentage of success. PMI just talks about, psychometric analysis. It talks about above average or above target or below target. So I would say for the safe side, the success ratio, or you can say exam success percentage, if you want to, target is exam success percentage should be, success percentage should be around 70%. So you should aim practice questions to achieve around 70% of the overall result. Is my voice is only with Rauf, or everybody is has issues? Because I believe this is the thing that you need to talk about. Okay, so I believe all are good to go with everyone. Okay, 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 guys. So that's all about our session number 1. I talked about 3 whys: why AUC, why AUC, why project management is growing, and why PMP.